Okay, so Section 6 of the USSGL. This particular one is the reclassified statements, which are the statements that in financial reports used for the entire U.S. government. You'll see here they're essentially identical in format for the statement of net cost and statement of operations and changes in net positions. Just wanted you to know, though, really, I think unless you're in the Bureau of Fiscal Services and you're creating these statements, you're probably not going to encounter using these crosswalks on a day-to-day exercise or on a day-to-day basis. But I want you to know that section exists and that's what it's for. Okay, the last section we have is 7, and it's the GTAS validation and edits. These are essentially quality assurance checks that we have and we use to make sure our fiscal data is accurate when we report up. And just if you're not aware, the government has a thing called GTAS, the Government-Wide Treasury Account Symbol Adjusted Trial Balance System, which agencies have to report on 11 months out of the year. We don't actually report in the month of October on its own. It gets rolled up when you report in November. Just think, this is during a lot of financial reporting time, so I guess they give us a little bit of a break. But what is the difference between a validation and an edit? Well, a validation is used to ensure that your attributes reported on the GTAS trial balance are valid for that account, while an edit compares our trial balances with other USSGL rules and other data sources. We have 5 set parts to Section 7. We have the validation summary report, the validation detail report, we have the edit summary, we have the edit detail, then we have closing edit report. So let's see what these look like. So we have the summary report. You'll see here, right? The validation number, name, some details. Then we'll get the specific details of the validations. Now we go into the edits. Similarly, the summary report gives you a high level. The difference here, as you'll see, is the fatal/proposed analytical. So these are the fiscal months or periods that this edit is in effect. If it's fatal, it is in effect, which means you cannot submit your GTAS submission and have it accepted for that month if that edit doesn't pass. If it's proposed analytical, it just means it's proposed, so it's not in effect, so it doesn't have to pass for you to submit your GTAS. It's good to know, though, when you see both fatal and proposed analytical in the same edit, that really means that edit is going into effect that year, because you'll see, the first numbers of the year will be proposed, and then you'll go into fatal. Now we have specifics for our edits. It goes a little more detail, right, with what was shown in the summary, and you'll actually see how the calculation is done. And usually they have here a left side, a right side. Left side has to equal right side. And there you go. And then finally, you'll have your closing edits. Now, these are your edits that need to pass to close your accounts for the fiscal year. So let's see what this looks like when we look it up. Okay, we're back at the USSGL. Let's look at the GTAS validations, right? So we mentioned here, we'll start off with the summaries for the validation, then the detail, then the summary for the edits, then the detail, and then the closing edits. Right. You'll see here a number of various validations we have. We have a total of 135, I guess that's special 999, but 134 validations. Now we'll go into specifics for the validations. You can see some of them are longer than others, but they'll explain exactly what we're looking at, in particular, what's the attribute and what the values have to be. Now for the edit summary, and very similar, you'll see right side, left side. You're going to see proposed analytical descriptions, types. We'll scroll all the way down. Let's see about how many we have. All right, this one we have a number, so I'm not going to give the exact number because they do not seem to be in order, but we have 38 pages of edits. Let's go into the detail. If you're curious, you'll be able to look up the actual rule number, right? You'll see, fatal period. This one's no analytical, so that means it's in effect now, and you'll see how it's calculated. We have 533 pages of edits. Pretty substantial, but you'll be able to read each of them if you need to figure out, why am I failing this edit or am I going to fail? All right, and then the last one is these closing edits detail. 52 pages of this, but very similar, right? You're going to be able to see the rule number. You'll be able to see how the pre-closing balance is calculated and how the beginning balances are calculated, which makes sense, right? Especially as accounts close and roll up, you want to make sure it's all accurate. Okay, well, that brings us to the end of our training, and I hope you feel like Sarah. She started off today a little unsure of herself. She's in a new environment, learning some new rules, but after we walk through how to read and utilize the USSGL, she's confident that while she might not immediately know all the answers to the problem she's going to encounter, she does know how to find those answers and how to do appropriate research. So I want to say thank you for joining me in this training. Really appreciate it. Whether this is your first day in federal accounting or you've been here for years, I hope you found this discussion useful. And I just want to remind you that I'm Rob with Federal Finance CPE, and we provide federal-focused continuing professional education for the federal accounting and finance industry. Thank you.